Lap 30 in this 36-lap race in Belgium, and look at this battle for sixth position, the vital one World Championship point. Jean Alesi, the French-Sicilian veteran in the Jordan, is staving off Barrichello. Behind Barrichello, trying to take him now as they come up to Les Combes, is Ralf Schumacher, who started last and has fought his way up to 7th. Can he make it 6th? Can he make it 5th?
I suspect Ralf Schumacher's been told to rev the engine harder now. Not going to score any points anyway if he blows up, and he's not going to score points unless he passes at least one of those cars in front of him. So suddenly Ralf Schumacher with more straight line speed now, and Jean Alesi grimly hanging on to try to score an important World Championship point for the Jordan team. His teammate Jarno Trulli 3.7 seconds up the road in 5th place. So Michael Schumacher 30 seconds ahead of Coulthard, who's pulled away 4 seconds from Fisichella. Hakkinen trailing 8 seconds further down from Fisichella. Trulli, Alesi, and this squabble you're looking at now.
Yeah, there's no battle for 1st, 2nd or 3rd places with 6 laps to go, including the one they are on. And I don't think Mika Hakkinen can catch Fisichella, but my goodness, there's going to be a battle for 5th, 6th and 7th, because Jarno Trulli in 5th position in the Jordan. Oh no, he's well clear of Jean Alesi. I say there's going to be a colossal scrap. There is a colossal scrap. You're looking at it for the last World Championship point for 6th place. And if Jean Alesi can get it in only his 2nd drive for Jordan, having scored twice already for the Prost team previously, he will be elated. He's famous for taking off his helmet and throwing it into the crowd. Helmets don't cost all that much, but they're full of extremely expensive radio equipment, and I don't think Jordan would have been expecting him to be in a position to do it. Let's hope for their sake that he changes his mind this time if he finishes in the points. If he does, it will be a magnificent achievement. He's the most experienced Grand Prix driver of them all this year. It is his 198th Grand Prix, and Jean Alesi at Les Combes on lap 31 out of 36 leads Barrichello, who is 7th, leads Ralf Schumacher, who is 8th, and behind them is Jacques Villeneuve in the BAR.
Well, they've all stopped twice, as anticipated. Alesi had a relatively travel-free run. Of course, Barrichello had to stop for a new nose. Ralf Schumacher started at the back of the restarted race after being left stranded on the jacks. The mechanics not quite getting the car down in time and having to get off the grid. So Jean Alesi then grimly trying to hang on still as he heads towards the final chicane. He appears to have enough speed, given that Barrichello is in his dirty air, and you just see Trulli moving out of the foreground of your screen as they came into this chicane.
Yeah, and it appears to me that Jacques Villeneuve has pulled the bung out. It looks to me visually as though he's closing marginally on Ralf Schumacher in 8th place ahead of him, to make it hopefully a 4-car train battle for that 6th position. Michael Schumacher, race leader, as he has led all the way. Once again, the luck has been with him, because when he started this race, Juan Pablo Montoya, the pole position holder in the Williams, had to go to the back, and his brother Ralph was still up on the jack. So good fortune has once again come Michael Schumacher's way, but as ever he has exploited it superbly. His lead has dropped to 26 seconds, but that is a colossal advantage with only 4 laps to go at the end of this one. And David Coulthard, therefore, is closing up on him. In fact, on the previous lap, he was about 2.5 seconds faster. But I'm sure that's because Michael Schumacher, experienced as he is pacing himself.
Barrichello in a very good position there. Jean Alesi necessarily having to defend his line. And, well, I really thought Jean would just spear forwards there and be the last of the late breakers. Didn't do so. Well, probably didn't defend as aggressively as I expected Alesi to be, given that it's for the final point of the afternoon. No point finishing 7th in any Grand Prix, especially this one. So Barrichello moves into an all-important point-scoring position.
Yeah, so Jean Alesi, look at the gap he's built in just a few hundred yards, as Ralf Schumacher now decides he's going to have a go. Here's the replay up to Les Combes. From behind his rear wing and slipstream, out of the dirty air goes Rubens Barrichello, moves across. Jean Alesi has to give way and defer. which gives Ralf Schumacher the opportunity to move up a bit in 8th position. And Jacques Villeneuve is 2 seconds behind this battle you're looking at now. But 2 seconds is a long way in terms of track distance. This is lap 33. We've still therefore got laps 34, and bang, out goes the Jordan of Jarno Trulli. That means to say that Alesi is back in the points again, and Rubens Barrichello moves up another place, another a heartbreaking end of race situation for Eddie Jordan's team. Yeah,
poor old Eddie Jordan, poor the Jordan team. They don't deserve that. They really don't. They've just had Alesi moved out of a point scoring position just as Trulli blows up. They were on for 3 points, and all of a sudden they're on, well, of course Alesi moves back a point, back into 6th now with the demise of his teammate. So suddenly they're down to just 1 point, and Alesi under severe pressure from Ralf Schumacher as well. So maybe still Jordan could go home without any World Championship points, and that is not what they deserve.
No, they need this 1 point from Jean Alesi to have the same number as BAR, their Honda engined rivals in the Constructors' Championship, which would put them in 5th place. And yet again, poor Jarno Trulli is out of the race. That's the 6th time he's retired this year, and you can see banging his head on his arms in sheer frustration as Michael Schumacher exits the bus stop to conclude his 33rd lap. So he's got about 13 or 14 miles to go now for the 5th victory. I thought for a moment that Barrichello had slowed up a bit there as he came out of the corner on his way up to the bus stop. But still, Ralf Schumacher is pursuing Jean Alesi, and now it's for a World Championship point. If Ralf can get ahead of the Jordan, it will be to move up into 6th place. And as Martin has pointed out, he might as well go for broke. If he blows the BMW engine up, he's lost nothing. If it stays together, unlike that of his teammate Pablo Montoya, he will get a World Championship point. Now, Schumacher was alleged to have said something rather disparaging about Montoya when the Colombian blew his engine up leading the German Grand Prix at Hockenheim, which the telemetry disproved. But the fact remains that again it's been Montoya's engine that's gone, and so far Ralf Schumacher's has not. Michael Schumacher is now on lap 34 out of 36. There's his lead. And Coulthard has stretched the gap between himself and Fisichella, who he just passed, to 10 seconds. Fisichella 10 seconds ahead of Häkkinen. The first 4 places looking established, as is 5th for Barrichello, who has speeded up and is marginally catching Mika Häkkinen. But what a scrap for that last championship point.
Now, how many revs will Ralf Schumacher be using down the straight? Surely he's in the absolute ideal position to give it a little bit extra, and no, he's not close enough. So but this time around on the managing to stay on the outside, Alesi could take that better line into Lecombe chicane and retains position. 3 laps remaining, of course.
Same sort of situation that Mika Häkkinen had with Michael Schumacher last year, because having spun, the Finn in the McLaren Mercedes started catching Michael Schumacher. He tried to get past him at Lecombe at 1 point, only to virtually have his nose chopped off by the Ferrari as Michael Schumacher established his racing line. But it was on the very next lap that Mika Häkkinen did that incredible move, which took him past Zonta to lap him and Schumacher Michael to take the lead. Lap 35 for Michael Schumacher now. Just this one and the next one between him, and yet another 10 World Championship points to take him over the century, to give him 104 World Championship points. He's breaking record after record. If he wins this race, he's going to beat Prost's all-time record.
Ralph's got a chance into the bus stop. He's clearly in the zone here. How late is Alesi on the brakes? Later than we saw when Barrichello passed him, that's for sure. So Jean now fighting harder than ever to score a World Championship point. I think when Jean sees a replay of Barrichello passing him, he'll be annoyed with himself for not fighting a little bit harder on that one. But now he's giving it absolutely all he's got.
Well, with Michael Schumacher on his 35th lap, people before this race began were saying, will Michael Schumacher let Barrichello win the race? And therefore strengthen his position to be second in the Drivers' Championship by passing David Coulthard? Well, first of all, to do that, of course, he's got to be in a position with Barrichello right behind him. That's not the case. Now Schumacher's having a go again. Now can he get inside? And Alesi once again turns across the front of the Williams BMW. He is absolutely determined that he is going to have that 6th position on the World Championship point that goes with it, and not Ralf Schumacher. But Ralf Schumacher will know what the score is. He will know that on the next lap he's got to be that much closer to Alesi than he was on this one. And Alesi will know the same thing. You can bet that Alesi's spending nearly as much time looking in his mirrors as he is looking ahead of him. And Michael Schumacher is now on his last potentially victorious lap of the 2001 Belgian Grand Prix. He's got 772 World Championship points already. It will be 782. He will only be 16 points behind, 16 and a half points behind Alain Prost's all-time point-scoring record if Schumacher wins here. I say we haven't seen much of him, but he's had another great drive, and his brother's doing the same thing.
Well, that's exactly where Bertie and Eddie Irvine got together, but Ralf then just backing out of that scenario. Alesi is 11 years older than the man pursuing him. He's going to be feeling extremely tired. It's been a long and difficult afternoon, and but he's using all of those 11 years of experience to keep that 6th position at the moment. And Ralf seemed very slow in the bus stop, but very, very good under braking.
And here we are on the last lap. Michael Schumacher exiting turn 13 in this 22 corner, 4.4 miles, Spa-Francorchamps circuit, a brilliant driver's circuit, and it suits him. He is a brilliant driver. Not very far now to go to give him the all-time record in terms of World Championship wins. 52 victories. Alain Prost has been saying, I hope he does it soon. I'm getting sick of people talking to me about whether he's going to do it. Well, he is going to do it. Michael Schumacher in the Ferrari is coming up to win his 8th race of the season. And his most ever is 9 with Nigel Mansell, and he does it. Michael Schumacher wins and becomes the most successful Grand Prix driver of all time as David Coulthard slides the McLaren through the bus stop to finish in 2nd place.
Michael Schumacher, clearly the driver of the day. He kept his head through all of that, waltzed carelessly off into the distance. Very, very strong drive from Coulthard as well. A well-deserved 6 points and a well-deserved podium place for this man, Fisichella. He's finishing 17 seconds down on Coulthard on the end, faded towards the end. But Häkkinen with a moderately lackluster for him, especially afternoon, down in 4th place, 36 seconds off the lead. But Michael Schumacher was just swanning around at the end. He gave 6 seconds away in the last lap alone, did Michael Schumacher.
Yeah, there's Barrichello finishing 5th, but who's going to be 6th? Is it going to be Jean Alesi? Is it going to be Ralf Schumacher? Let's go back down the track and find out. And there is the answer. It's going to be Jean Alesi. Jean Alesi in his 2nd race for Jordan retrieves something for the team with a quite superlative fighting drive to 6th position and a single World Championship point. But mostly unseen by us, and of course the heartbroken Jarno Trulli, this has been Michael Schumacher's day.